First, before we begin this video, a disclaimer. This is very important that you understand. All investing involves a certain amount of risk, regardless of what it is. Invest at your own cognizance. Understand the markets before you begin playing, even have a hint of what's going on. And don't blame other people if you invest poorly. I assume no responsibility for your investing decisions. And what I am showing you here is just informational. Just realize, with every investment comes a certain amount of risk. You can lose money as quick as you can make it. Understand market trends. And keep yourself well apprised of world news and other situations that affect the very market that you're playing in. And with that out of the way, let's move on. Whipsaw madness, man. Look at this silver chart, man. We're getting close to 16 an ounce. They just can't stop it. Look at that whipsaw pattern, man. The silver keeps going up, and somebody keeps trying to sell it down, and pops back up. Let me tell you something. The COMEX right now is emptying out faster than a stuck pig. There are 300 people holding contracts on each physical ounce of silver in the market right now. When this game ends, there's going to be so many pissed off people because there isn't enough silver on the surface of the planet to cover all the naked short sells that are, the paper silver market is about to turn to crap, buddy. Now let me tell you, when this was back around $13 an ounce, yeah, y'all should have invested. You can still get on it. You better hurry. Train's running out of the station. It's fixing to shoot up. From what I understand, the COMEX is nearly dry. Banks have been trying to buy up silver and gold as fast as they possibly can. Let me refresh that. Let's see where it is right now. I'm almost out of battery, but let's see if it'll do it. Okay, here it comes. Oh, look at that. Look at that. It's still going up. Still going up, kids. So, if you're going to jump on, now's the time. Now's the time. You can watch your investment rise and rise and rise. Mining production is going to be cut 25% this year by a lot of major suppliers. You know what's happening now. They say, oh, you're about to have a huge demand. We're going to slow down a little bit and bring the price up since we run the mines. Awesome play, awesome play. It doesn't make it much easy for us poor folks keep buying silver. But I'll tell you what, when I look at those charts, I smile more and more and more. Because I bought back when it was 13 something, man. When it was on the bottom. And now look how far it's gone, man. You need at least 10 ounces of silver right now. You need to go out and get it right now. If you have the money, buy you some gold. What I would do too, if I was a stacker and I was stacking silver, like really stacking silver, which I wish I was doing, but I kind of got in on it too late with too little money. But if you have it, when that crap caps, say when you got more than a few thousand in there and you can kind of half your stack, take about half of that and buy you some gold. Because you think silver's going crazy, gold is going up and up and up. And let me tell you, silver you may have some difficulty selling, but gold, there's a lot of people buy gold, man. And not only in this country, but worldwide. There's always a buyer for gold, so you can always use it as a superpowered hedge against inflation. And silver itself is a good hedge. I'm in the silver stuff. I'm not in the gold stuff. But I can guarantee you, the way things are going, if that dips even a little bit and I have the money to do it, I'm going to buy some more. And I might even buy some gold, depending on if I can scrape enough up. An ounce of gold sitting there would be a good thing, man. You know how many bills you can pay with that? But It's turning into a very interesting time. I can't wait to see the physical defaults that are going to hit banks. Because here's what happens. The banks can't rebound from this because everybody knows now you need to start stacking. You know how many people are buying physical silver now? There's a huge shortage coming. The banks can't make back their shorts. They're trying. Boy, they're buying it as fast as they can get it now, but the COMEX is nearly empty. And unless somebody dumps a lot of silver onto the market really fast and brings the price down, you know, the stuff goes back into the COMEX, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad, at least for the banks. You know, for those of us who have been stacking a little silver and putting it places. And I'm telling y'all again, don't come around here looking for it, because it ain't here. I don't keep anything like that here. And I know there's people in this neighborhood that have started watching this video. I know of one in particular. Don't you even think of coming over here. It ain't here. I'm not that stupid. Anyway, it's gonna be an interesting day. You know, they say bad things happen. I can almost bet you there's gonna be some people hanging from some high trees over this one. Or turning up in very bad, sticky ending ways. Because you got 300 or more. I think now it's way over. That was the last thing I had read. And that was like a while back. I heard one guy say it's closer to 500 contracts for 1 physical ounce of silver now. And for those people, let me tell you, one guy is going to take physical delivery. It's going to be, you know, that 1 to 500 ratio. That little one group, they're going to take physical delivery, and the rest of you guys, well, you're going to be stuck holding the bag, aren't you? What are you going to do? How many, you know, I bet there's going to be a lot of ticked off people. I think there's going to be, and this is not a threat, this is an observation, or how should I say, this is intuition. There's going to be a lot of high muckety-mucks that have run these banks and done these things. They better get them some bodyguards real quick. You got that many pissed off people, a lot of them going to want you dead. A lot of them going to want you dead. I'm not going to be one of them, because I don't have any paper in the banking system. I don't have any paper in precious metals. I thought that was foolish from the day I heard of it. You know, this figurative silver. You know, if you're going to play with paper, just use cash. It doesn't represent anything either, really. So, why go and line yourself up for a reaming of royal proportion? If you're going to play with precious metals, hold the real stuff in your hand and trade the real stuff. Get in on an exchange, and there are a few out there. They only trade physical. You know, and you can take delivery of it. They have assayers that keep track of everything in the vaults, and they are updated every day. Some of them. One of which I showed y'all. There's a thing called bullionvault.com. It costs a little money to open it and run it, but no business is in business to spin their wheels. Everything has to be maintained. They charge a tiny little percentage for each transaction, and when you start trading big, it's not going to really make that much of a huge hit on you. I just did this video because on this cold 38-degree morning, I cracked open the Kitco charts and I looked at what my investment was doing, and then I went over to APMEX and I looked at my holdings. And I was like, oh! Yeah. It's a good day for stackers, and it's a good day for people who own physical silver, and it's only going to get better, I suspect. The whipsaw pattern says there's a little bit of a war going on, and they're playing with the last of their reserves. And unless somebody goes out and mines a whole shit ton more silver, there isn't going to be more to play with. So eventually it's going to be all spent. What they might be doing with this whipsaw thing is they might be trading it between members of the club, moving it around, but really no real headway is happening. But it's driving the price up. Of course, eventually they could dump it all out on the market, and a lot of people could take a bath, but how much of a bath are you going to take when supply and demand is going to begin dictating things? Think about that. There's only so much, and industry eats more and more of it every day, building solar panels and smartphones and all that other crap that nobody really needs but everybody wants. You know, I'm not dissing solar panels. I've got my own out here. It was one of the first things I did to get reliant was I took and I invested in some solar, and that has paid for itself many times over. You know, don't believe the market hype. With the rate of energy going up and all these smart meters and all of their shenanigans, doubling your electric bills for the same amount of wattage used, no change on your system. You should look that up too. Those smart meters, that's a big friggin' scam. A couple of solar panels will do you good. The ability to make your own power. I've been in a situation in the past where I had to make my own power. And that wasn't during the hurricane. There was a point in time when I was so poor. But I had those solar panels. I had bought them back when I had a little money. And I put some money into it. And then a couple of years later, I got on the poor side of things. They started estimating my electric bills and started feeding me one month and starving me the next. So I told them, you guys go pile sand. And I flipped the transfer switch over to solar, and for about 2 years, I ran on that solar power. That's another thing, Plan for your future. Things are going to get weird. The more I look at market charts, not just silver and gold, you go out and look at the Baltic Dry Goods Index. There is nothing moving hardly. And it's nothing. Well, I can't say nothing. There's very little moving. Very little moving. Shipments around the world are at an all-time low. Purchases of things. Stock markets in certain places are going to crap. The American dollar is weakening because they are moving to yuan and other currencies overseas off of the dollar to trade oil. The Saudi Arabian group there, the OPEC, they're flooding the crap out of the market with cheap oil. And you know what that's doing here? You look at our domestic oil companies, we're going the way of Canada. Our oil companies are starting to shut down projects because it's not cost-worthy. It's not worth their time to develop the technologies that could be bailing us out. When all the other crap around the world quits, we're abandoning those for this cheap oil. We're like a drug addict. Oh, I can get my cocaine for like half the price of this guy over here. Oh, give me that stuff. And your local dealer, well, he can't, he shoots himself or he gets shot or something, And you got this other guy who's now your dealer. Guess what? The price just doubled. There's already talk at OPEC. They're going to shift the price back up at a certain point. They're going to push it way up. And when they do that, all this cheap cocaine is going to go away. And think about it. Our dollar is going to be complete garbage at that particular time. How are we going to buy that oil at that higher price? We're going to buy very little of that oil at that higher price. Prices at the gas pump are going to go $2, $3, $4, $5 on up. And that's going to be in the meantime, while the oil companies here, that the ones that are left that didn't go bankrupt over all this crap, the ones that are left, when they start drilling again, when they start exploring and exploiting shale and fracking, it's going to take some turnaround time, and there's going to be some cost in restarting those projects. Equipment doesn't just sit in a suspended animation form. All that equipment is most likely, if it's anything like what a lot of drilling companies do, it's all dismantled, and then it's put in a yard somewhere, and it's stacked, and it just sits there, and it rusts, and it rusts, and it rusts. And let me tell you something about machines, because I know this for a fact. I've worked on stuff. Machines do not like to sit. Complex machinery does not like to sit idle. Think of your car. If you put your car, in fact, there's a truck out there. There's a truck out there in the yard that's been sitting there for almost 3-4 months now. You can't even start it. And pretty soon that engine's going to be seized up. and the gas in the tank is going to be jelly or turpentine. You can't let, and even other things that are unaffected by gas, like shut your lawnmower off or your car off and just let it sit. And just do keep some good gas in it, or empty the tank. Even if you don't have any gas in that engine, when you come back to start that engine up and you put some fuel in there and get it primed, that car is going to run like a piece of crap. So, yeah, machinery does not like to sit, and that's what's happening. All this equipment is mothballed and set off to the side, and it's going to be a hell of a turnaround to get it all running again. The price of getting it all running again is going to keep the price of fuel high for a long time. Forget OPEC. We'll have to mobilize our drilling industry again. In fact, OPEC is doing to us what the Chinese have done to us in the steel industry and the other manufacturing sectors. They made all their stuff so cheap and flooded these big box stores. It's the steel manufacture here and other manufacturing became non-profitable, unprofitable for these big captains of industry. So they moved all their crap over into China. Now here's the thing, and this is where it's going to get us, and it has happened in a couple of places. When you get in bed with communists and state-run governments, the state decides that they want your factory, they'll come and get it. They're the ones that run it. And I forget which one it was. Was it GE? Or was it Boeing? No, it wasn't Boeing. It might have been GE. I know it was one of the larger manufacturers. Chinese took their factory and kicked them out. It says, this is our factory now. You go away. We know how to make this now. We'll be making copies of your crap. So, yeah, when you get in bed with commies, it's good when it's good. But when it goes bad, guess who gets screwed? You're not a citizen. They're going to take everything you got. As has happened. There's innumerable video out there about what's going on with that. So, I'm running out of gas. I'm so damn happy to see that, My tablet's off, or I refresh it again. I have a live chart running next to this thing on a computer, and I'm watching the price. But then it comes back, and it comes back higher than it was. Now it's generating a big open wedge. So I don't know where it's going to go. When it finally stops whipsawing, it's either going to stop in an upward motion, and then it's going to plateau off, and you're going to see some little along there, But if it stops on the downward side, it's still going to be higher than what I paid for it. If it stops on the downward side, it's going to do that. And anybody that bought during the whipsawing, the high end of the whipsaw, well, even on the low end, because it's getting bigger. What's happening, okay, on your screen, this would be left to right. As time goes on, the whipsaw is getting wider and wider and wider and wider and wider as it goes on. But the highs are getting high and the lows are getting lower. And it is a jagged line. It looks like this. So, something's got to give. The tug of war is going on right now. Something's got to give. Is it going to finish high or is it going to finish low? I suspect it's going to finish on the high side. Or maybe just a little below the high side. The whipsaw pattern may settle out a little bit and then it's going to finish high. Or it's going to finish higher than the lowest low on the other side. Who knows? But generally, when you see, it's usually the other way around. You get a wedge that's closing down, And then when it hits that little bit, when it finally stops oscillating, it'll go pew, or it'll go pew, like that, more or less. And you'll end up with a higher or you'll end up with a lower market for a while. So, God knows, man, the last 3 days have been the craziest days of trading I've seen on there. And pretty cool. If it finishes on the low side, I would say anybody out there, kitco.com, watch the silver price if you're doing silver. Or watch the gold if you're doing gold. I watch the silver because that's what I trade in. Watch that thing, refresh it periodically. If it finishes low, get you a little bit. Get you a couple ounces, Hold it in your coat, or put it under the mattress, or find you a hole in the ground and get you a piece of PVC pipe and cap the ends and stick it in there and throw it in there. Just somewhere so somebody... Don't, for God's sake, don't put it in a bank. Did you know we're about to enter into negative interest rates? It's that, or we're going to be into bail-in territory, where they declare bank holidays. There's a rumor going around that a Wells Fargo employee leaked this out. They're doing drills as to what to do when there's a run on the bank. They've never done it in their whole career, a lot of them. But they're practicing how they would do this if there was a run on the bank. They talk about declaring a bank holiday, turning off the ATMs, putting armed guards at the door, and only letting 3 people at a time into the bank to do their business, and limiting the amount they can take out. This is in America they're doing this. They're planning this, according to this employee. And I've seen that on a couple of YouTube videos. That was one of them leaked it out, and a lot of these people around, they're kind of, I guess the best word for them is silver pumpers. They're trying to get people to buy more silver. I'm not trying to be one of them, but my God, I look at the price and I look at the charts and where they're going. You should, even in a down market, you should have a little silver because, get yourself 10 ounces, if anything. It'll save your butt one day, especially if things get more expensive. But it's starting to kind of circulate around here and there about this. So when you hear stories like that, it doesn't inspire a whole hell of a lot of confidence in that area. I mean, I'm only mildly, and I mean mildly, invested in banks. Mildly. And in that mildly, I mean, well, there's a direct deposit goes into an account. But I tell you, from this point on, because of what I'm seeing, and J.P. Morgan Chase is one of those organizations that was criminally, they've been caught out on a lot of little shenanigans they were doing in the past. So I don't like them banking at Chase, but my remedy to that is when I get my direct deposits, I basically take out all but maybe $20, and I live on that. Or I put it somewhere else in a place I know, that's not involved. The little banks aren't going to crater. The little banks aren't involved in all this market manipulation. Your little community banks, things like that, they're there and they'll always be around. Shouldn't make a run on that, but those big banks that have caused this problem, that have amplified the shortages and stuff, that these people are heavily invested in, there's going to be a run on them. There's going to be a run on them, I guarantee. And it's going to be funny one day. I'm going to take my Chase card, and I'm going to walk up and stick it in an ATM, and it's going to say not able to authorize or something like that, Because to prevent runs on the bank, they're going to shut it all down. They're going to declare a bank holiday. Your cards aren't going to work. And if you are allowed into the bank, you'll only be allowed to draw out so much. The other thing, and a lot of people don't know this, but the Federal Reserve has already said they're not going to bail out any banks that think they're too big to fail. There's been a lot of communication sent around to them that if you fail, we aren't going to be here to bail you out. And so that means the only other choice they have is a bail-in. What is a bail-in? Well, have you seen what's going on in Greece and some other countries? But Greece is the big poster child of it. The banks all closed, and people's bank accounts suddenly shrunk by a hell of a lot. Yeah, and then they were forced to adapt austerity measures. But in that's over the country as a whole. But in the banking sector of that country, people lost a lot of money. They basically just walked in there and took what they needed, percentage of their accounts. They took what they needed. Safety, I don't know if the safety deposit boxes were gotten into to look for assets, but I've heard that that's possible too. When you go to a bail-in, and if the government is backing it, they can look in your safety deposit box for tangible assets too, and they can take those. Don't keep things in a deposit box right now. Find you another place to put it very, very quickly. I think 2016 is going to be, and especially the early part of 2016, is going to be the determining factor as to how our economy is going to run, whether it be good or be bad. And we, the little people, we're the ones that are going to suffer for that. You know? All of this stuff they did, we, the little people, are going to be the ones that suffer. So do your homework, keep an eye on it. You may have a different opinion than me, but I've got this sinking feeling in my gut from the research I've been doing and the things I've been seeing. Going down the not-so-crazy avenue, I'm not saying be a doomsday prepper, but go ahead and start buying lots of canned food. Canned meats. Canned meats. There's a lot of good ones out there. I'm going to review some. I wouldn't buy MREs. That's like you're putting a lot of stuff in your body that's going to hurt you later on. Just get canned foods, dry goods. Make sure they're in rodent-proof containers, and just stock up. Powdered milk, that's a good one. It lasts 2 years or longer depending on how you store it. Everybody knows get beans and rice. Beans and rice are a critical protein and carbohydrate. Get you lots of those. Start doing the prepper thing, but not necessarily the doomsday thing. I think things are going to even out, and your dollar's not going to buy a hell of a lot much anymore. It's not going to buy a hell of a lot in the future. Things are going to get very expensive as far as the dollar goes. Diversify your currencies. Keep a little foreign currency somewhere that you can exchange, because other countries are doing quite well. British pounds, they're not doing super. The economy worldwide is really in the crapper right now, but some are going to be better than others. And, keep your hand in precious metals. That'll keep you afloat. The internet's not going to shut down tomorrow or anything like that. Nothing like that's going to happen. You'll have places to trade it. You'll have places to sell it. Hell, there's people in almost every town that buy gold and silver, so you have places to trade it, and some of them will give you a good spot value for it. And hold on to your silver, because hell, we may be bartering with it before it's over with. If things got really, really apocalyptic, you can at least barter with it. Those old silver coins, man. You know why there's so many silver eagles going around? People recognize silver for what it is. You hand somebody a silver coin, you hand them a Morgan silver dollar, or you hand them a Kennedy $50, they know what the hell that is. The old ones, anything before 1969, that's silver, man. People will take that off your hands. It's good for trading, because silver can always be sold on the market. There will always be an exchange for silver. And the other thing that justifies that, here in Texas, they have adopted a silver bank. You can take your silver. Now, they have a bank that deals in silver now. You can walk into the bank with your silver, and they'll hold it in a vault for you. They're going, from what I can tell, them, and as like I said in the other video, many other states, they're going to start using silver as monetary units. That's what you'll buy and sell. They how did they put it? The guy in Texas said, we need to come up with an alternative means to transact business in the case of fiscal collapse. This isn't like Joe Blow Prepper and his group did this. This is the government of Texas now has a silver bank. So it's very interesting, and there are other states that are doing the same thing. I would say get some silver bars and get some fractional silver, some little silver coins, 10th ounce, quarter ounce, half ounce, because silver is going to be worth a lot, and you don't want to have to give somebody a bar that's worth $50 for $10 worth of gas. You know what I mean? You got to have fractional silver, so get you some of that and diversify. I didn't think so heavily about that, but seeing what I'm seeing now, man, a person have to be a fool not to own a little bit. Hell, even if you own 10 ounces, that'll get you through a tight pinch if things go crappy on you. And you can always take it, even if the economy is relatively good. You can always sell it. It's going to be worth more. I mean, I bought mine at $13, It's almost 16 now, so I've gained, I've gained hundreds of dollars because of the amounts I've gotten, Well, not hundreds of dollars because it's not a huge amount, but think about if you had a kilogram of silver right now. You bought it at $13.60 or something like that, and now it's almost $16 an ounce. Right there, you've made a pretty big profit. Now, let's say it goes to $20 an ounce, which is very feasible right now, which is believable. You've just made a horrendous profit. Well, not a profit, but your money has held its value. And I'm rambling on. I'm going to stop talking. I believe I'm preaching to, if you have an ear, let you hear. He that has an ear, let him hear. And him that does not, well, ignorance is bliss. Take care and have a good day. And invest wisely. All investments entail an amount of risk. Never invest money you can't afford to lose when playing markets. Y'all have a good one.